Well, hello YouTube, and today we have some, well, water heater parts. I have a fairly cheap um, tankless water heater. It's one of the Chinese models. I think my particular brand name is Hot Choice, I believe. But pretty the same thing as Eco Temp or Echo Temp and Mary, and they're all the same pretty much. But recently I've been having some issues with it. Actually, I've always had some slight issues with it, and we'll get into that later. But the recent problem is it would turn on and then kick off. Turn on, kick off. Like you'd have to shut the water off, run it full blast. Sometimes it would stay on, sometimes it wouldn't. Well, the issue was the diaphragm that is in this gizmo. And what this is, it's the water and gas regulator. And what it does is the water comes in through this pipe here, and this is connected to the gas control, gas level control, and the burner connects up top here. And there's a rubber diaphragm in here that is supposed to, well, for one thing, when the diaphragm, when it senses water flow, it's supposed to flip this little switch, this little tab out, and actually turn the water heater on, the ignition, to fire the igniter and to open the gas valve. And the diaphragm is also supposed to regulate the gas flow by, when there's more water flowing, it allows more gas to flow through the burner. Less flow, obviously less gas flows through the burner. So anyway, I tore the whole thing apart, and this is what I found inside. Well, not quite. This is the diaphragm right here, and it actually wasn't completely torn. I did that myself, but just by tugging on it a bit. But it had this buckle on it, and it was split completely here. So there was basically no pressure differential between the two, and when it would pop in to fire the water heater, it would leak out and shut itself down. And I believe there was always an issue with this because of this, the way that it's buckled, and it was torn right where it was torn. And if you're not going to be able to see this on camera, but it looks like it was not installed properly to begin with. It's kind of pinched along the edge. So the notorious problem with these Chinese water heaters is you cannot find parts for them. Well, yes, you can. Sort of. The parts that I had found on Alibaba and also on eBay for the rubber diaphragm, we can find rubber diaphragms similar to this. However, they are for the smaller water heaters. This is a 4.5 gallon per minute heater, I believe. So this is a fairly large diaphragm. And the other ones were only about the size of this inside circle here, and only had one little tab on the side. So I searched for water heater diaphragms. I came across a listing on eBay for a diaphragm for a Paloma PH-24 heater, and which is no longer in production, but that is what we have here. Note the metal center, stainless steel center of it, and I've already done a little bit to it, which we'll get to that in a bit. Alright, so how this works, the diaphragm sits in here, water flows in through this side and out through this hole here, down through here, into this side, and then again flows back through this hole here and back into this cavity, which on the bottom a plug screws in that has a pressure relief valve in it. Now, why they didn't just build up this casting a bit on this side and thread the pressure relief valve into here, I have no idea. That would have made things so much simpler. But this is what we got to work with right now. So anyway, I ordered the Paloma part because it was 25 bucks and it was the same, approximately the same outside diameter. The diameter that was listed in the auction was in inches, and obviously this one would have been in millimeters, but disregarding that, I used a caliper and figured out, okay, well, it's close, very close. So the thing is, obviously the Paloma is built a little bit better. Its little flow tube here is larger and presumably has the drain and the pressure relief on this side, which would have just made sense. But anyway, to make this work, to fit it inside the lip of the casting, I had to trim a little bit off of the outer diameter of this little tab that sticks out. And this fits in here like that. And we'll just stick that in there for now. And we'll put one of our little brass tubes in there. And as far as this other side goes, well, I really was stumped with that. I was thinking of, okay, well, I'm just going to solder this hole shut, put a plug in there, solder it shut, solder this shut. Here, you just use silver solder, and then drill and tap a small hole in here and put a screw in it that can act as a drain. Probably not the best idea. This heater is not in a location where it could freeze, and I don't need to winterize it, which I believe is what that drain plug is ultimately for. But attempting to not have to do that, I've got a little tiny O-ring here out of my AC kit. I'm going to drop that in there. And our other little sleeve goes in there. Now, this little plastic thing on here, which sets on the back of the diaphragm, presumably to keep it from blowing through. Other places I've seen show that it just rests like that on the metal peg, which I can see would puncture right through that in absolutely no time, even with something behind it. So anyway, here we've got the metal, so no need to worry about having this piece on there. And I've measured it, it's approximately the same. So then this will fit on here like that. Alrighty. Well, here we have the actual heater. And everything is hooked up and working. And unfortunately, I cannot, for the life of me, find the stupid little drain plug valve. So right now I've just got a bolt stuffed in there with some thread sealing tape in it, and that's working for now. And there is one adjusting screw that goes up in the water valve that kind of had seen better days, and when I tried to adjust it, it kind of just shot out of the valve. So I kind of had to make a new screw. I found one with the correct thread, and I ground down the head and installed an O-ring on it, and that seems to be working. And I also had to replace the O-ring on the other adjusting screw, the larger one. Let's see if we can get a better shot of that. The small one is the one I had to replace the screw. The large one is the one I had to replace the O-ring on. But it is now working. Before, the only way I could possibly get it to fire was if the flow control was turned all the way down to nothing. And that had been pretty much like that since I bought it. But anyway, I currently have it set to the lowest gas level, highest flow valve, and it is set to the summer position, which only runs the inner set of burners. When you flip it to, and I'll show this, when you flip it to the winter setting, it fires all the burners. But yeah, right now I have my basement faucet on plus my upstairs bathroom faucet. So let's turn the water on, see what happens. See if we can get this all in shot. Watch the little switch right here in the center. We're getting some air through the line. Okay, now, previously, if I wanted hot water at full flow, I would have to turn the gas down, which the burners were a lot lower than that before on the low gas flow, even on full open faucet. And I do have flow limiters on my lines, so I'm going to get, what is it, 1.5 gallons per minute even on a wide open faucet. So, which I now have two wide open faucets, the tub upstairs and the basement faucet. But I'll just show what switching to winter mode does. Now it looks like a lower flame, but you've got twice as many burners running, so it's actually a hotter flame. So, and we overheated. Why it overheated there, we actually created a mini boiler. What had actually happened, because I was stupid, remember I had switched this knob to winter? Well, instead of switching this knob back to summer, I turned the gas knob, cranked it full up on winter mode. So we were basically instantly boiling water. Anyway, so we now have hot water coming out of both faucets, which is something I could not do, two faucets at once. I could not do that before. But let's turn our flow down here a little bit and watch the flame. Or let's watch the little switch. Flow's turned down, and so is the flame. It might not look like it really, but turn it back up again. But through any combination of faucets and flow rates that I could get, as long as I was flowing enough water to get the heater turned on, it would not shut down now. So there we go. We've got a slight upgrade and a little bit of a bodge until I can find that little plug that goes on the bottom. But yeah, there we go. A Hot Choice Chinese tankless water heater. Thanks for watching.